Hey guys, Kyle the Death Knight Vanmare here, and I'm bringing you my review of The Promised Neverland Episode 6. And right off the bat, I gotta say, I really can't believe that we're basically almost basically that we're basically in the halfway point of the series now. Like we're halfway done. Like, it's actually kind of incredible that we're basically already at this point. It really feels like it really should have been it really feels like it's been just like the weeks with this series have just been pretty much speeding by without any notice. So, and I guess in a way that's a testament to the series, how well it's telling the story while also having pretty damn good pacing, I'd say. Um, but yeah, let's get into it. And actually, while we're on the topic of pacing, I'll be honest. The first chunk of this episode was jumping all over the place, and a lot of that does come from the fact that it was taking moments from both chapter 16 and 17. But unlike previous episodes that pretty much did this, and still managed to feel like a coherent narrative. This episode definitely had a couple more moments where it did feel where the pacing of the episode, it felt a little more. I don't want to say pretty much. It felt like it felt I was feeling a little disoriented in just trying to keep up with everything. But luckily it wasn't for the entire episode. It was only for the first from only the first couple minutes of the episode, like from 3 or 4 minutes of the episode. So yeah, and it was one of those sort of things where at the beginning it was just a little too fast paced or a little disjointed for me. So but like I said, it quickly corrected itself after that point. So but yeah, the beginning was just kind of weird for me. I don't know if anyone else felt that way, but yeah, I definitely felt a little disoriented in trying to pay attention for the first 3 4 minutes of the episode. Luckily, I did manage to keep on track somewhat. But more importantly, we basically get a huge plot reveal of someone called William Minerva, having left coded messages at Gracefield for basically others to find. And yeah, truth be told about this guy, pretty much despite how much that's already been revealed about this guy in the manga, this particular character is one of those where he still to this day he manages to remain one of the biggest mysteries in the entire series, because even kind of going off something I basically said in a previous review on the series. um he's definitely he's one of those characters where from each new thing that is going to end up being revealed about him, you'll still basically you'll still end up having even bigger questions than basically all of your initial ones. Like this William Minerva guy is going to raise so many questions pretty much throughout the series, and a lot of them aren't. Unfortunately, a lot of them aren't really even aren't going to be covered in this season. But if the series ever gets to season two, which season two and three and beyond, or however many seasons it's going to cover up until the end, which I'm fairly certain that this is going to get a second season, then yeah, that's one of the things you'll definitely find is that William Minerva is definitely one of those characters where the more you learn about him, there's going to be a lot more questions you're going to find yourself asking about him as well. So yeah, and a lot of that just comes from the fact that we pretty much still, and even then a lot of what raises these questions to begin with is comes from the fact that even me as even us as manga readers, we still don't know where Minerva himself is, or if he's even alive in the series itself, because because as far as the series, as far as the story goes, it's kind of kept his basically status, alive or dead, his status of being alive or dead, a little vague in the timeline sense. But I think the one thing that we can also glean from basically all these books and whatnot that Minerva has left behind is that they basically are going to be important tools that you're going to see the main characters use in order to survive. I think that's another thing that we can definitely take away from that. Like a lot of these books, they definitely seem to definitely seem to from what we've learned, the books that definitely seem just pretty much seem to contain a lot of information, even beyond pretty much all the Morse code in it. So a lot of this, a lot of the books are probably going to have tips and tools and tricks in order to fight the demons or something like that. And yeah, in this case, with these characters again only being children, they're pretty much going to need everything they're going to need to learn everything that they pretty much can in order to survive against the demons. So there's that too. Um, and yeah, let's talk about the Dawn and Gilda, the scene of Dawn and Gilda in the basement, because straight up, I'll tell you guys that scene, it was done so well to the point where I'd say it was definitely creepier than basically when it was handled in the manga. Like it gets by on that with just the shots and angles alone. But in general, this was also another instance where cutting out portions of the dialogue, I think, really enhanced the creepiness even more to the scene itself. Because we were basically allowed to soak in the unsettling nature of the reveal with basically all the toys and the bunny and whatnot. So yeah, which basically and that scene also, and that scene in itself, it also, and with the way that scene was handled, it also added a lot more to basically to a lot of the tension and the way to basically to basically what Dawn and Gilda's reactions were when they were told the truth, in concerning to the demons. And I'll be honest, for as much as I do understand the situation of the spy, Dawn did bring up a very interesting point about trust. And looking back on this stuff, I definitely feel that, like, okay, I it's one of those situations where Don, when it came to Don, he definitely brought up a very good, interesting point about trust. And the thing about it is that I feel that with basically Emma, Norman, and Ray, I think that they could have found in some pretty much some kind of a discreet way, just some kind of a discreet way of telling both pretty much Don and Gilda what was going on, even and doing it without even exposing anyone. But and Don himself even does kind of recognize he's also partly just taking out his frustrations and anger about the situation. But even in that sense of Don just kind of realizing he's just angry at the whole situation. You really can't help, even in that situation where he admits that, you still can't help but even pretty much feel for Don too, because you basically know that what Don's going through is he's kicking himself for being as stupid as everyone else at the time, for not even recognizing all the signs of what would happen to Connie. Like he feels he could have prevented everything that happened to Connie, but he basically failed in order to protect her. So, and anyone else who was pretty much sent out to the farm. So it's like he's kicking himself for being so stupid, and I love that development, honestly. One thing I also really appreciate about this episode is how there is this genuine sense that both Isabella and Crone are starting to close in on our heroes. So yeah, it's forcing them to really start pretty much thinking on their feet now. And even then, when even in those moments where it does feel like things are okay, you definitely get get the sense where even thinking on their feet isn't really doing all that much anyway. At least with if the conversation between pretty much when the conversation of basically Ray and Isabella is any indication, like just that conversation alone, you could tell that they were pretty much trying to they were pretty much trying to in order to try and basically outsmart each other. Like it did definitely feel that way for sure. Um, and one thing I'm also really glad about is that the series took the time to in order to remember that the trackers in everyone's ears or everyone's bodies are still a thing as well. And if they don't address it, then any kind of escape plan is going to be dead in the water, or it's not going to go over as well as we think. But it's also kind of but it is also kind of feeding into kind of an idea of how the escape plan itself is going to go too. So yeah, it's good setup there. And okay, no joke. When it comes to Crone's facial expressions, uh, it's always kind of been the way that Cloverworks animation has handled like Sister Crone's facial expressions has always been kind of a hit and miss thing. Has always kind of a hit and miss thing in the series for me. But the scene of her as the kids were walking by actually kind of made me pretty much jump back a little bit in my seat, and I think it even gave me a couple of goosebumps as well. So if there's anything if there's anything that I can't argue about is that the setups for pretty much scary moments, like definitely that one are amazing. Actually, I could be wrong, but I think Cloverworks is getting a little bit better at basically at the animation on basically all of Sister Crone's expressions. But yeah, like it is getting a little more expressive. Sister Crone herself is getting a little more expressive in the anime, but it still isn't perfect either. It is a lot better. I'll say that much at the very least. Um, now about her. Now, of course, as we learned in this episode, she pretty much she brings some kind of a proposition to the children in order to join forces. And at first, when I read the manga, I was like, "Don't, guys, I wouldn't." I was like, "Kids, I wouldn't trust a bitch." That was my first thing when I read the manga, and they did good and they did a good job of capturing that same feel again because I said the exact same thing here that I said in the manga. Kids don't I don't want you to trust a bitch, but but I also remembered what happened in the manga and remembered how things with her from here with how things with Crone from here get complicated to say the least. So yeah, Crone is going to but it's Crone and basically is both Crone and basically is Isabella are going to be interesting to watch from here on out for sure because we even get a sense of what they're kind of about and what they're what because we've already gotten a sense of what they're about and what they're kind of doing right now. So yeah, um, but yeah, guys, that's my review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, AniLister, Crunchyroll. Death Night of Anime, signing off. Later, guys.